we're here talking about success. I'm wondering, what does Fall do? What does Long do? What does Co do? What do the rest of us do besides play music? And so I want to share a little bit about what it takes to be successful in the community. And what I want to specifically talk about is perspective. Okay, so I think the overall theme of what I'm going to say is very simple. It's that the little things that you do in life determine who you are. Okay, so you're all very young right now. I think for the most part I'm going to tell little stories about myself and my experience with Paradise, how it made me who I am today. And it literally, just a couple of years ago, made me who I am today. So my background actually is, I'm a local Fresno boy here. Is everyone here from Fresno? So everyone here is Fresno, but I think I can relate to you a little bit more because when I joined Paradise, I was probably your age. I was 13, 14. I'm not 13, 14 anymore, but, so let's see if this will work. Oh, it's not going. Can you click for me? So, let's move back a little bit. So, by occupation, I'm actually a physician assistant. You guys know what a physician is? Fancy for doctor, okay? I'm actually a physician assistant, and I actually work for Sierra Pacific Orthopedics, and I've always tied to Fresno because Sierra Pacific is actually we're the team doctors for the Fresno State sports. I still have Fresno State, so I'm still tied to Fresno State. I grew up in this area. I came here when I was about 2. I was born in Laos. I came here when I was 2. I grew up on a little bit more or less developed side of town. I grew up anyone here grew up in the Cowla area? No one? Okay, so you guys know what Cowla is like. Cowla is like a really neat place. And then ended up going to a school called Manchester, and then SCAN. Anyone here from SCAN? Okay, good, some SCAN people. And then I went to Edison. There we go, that's a typical Edison person. And then I actually came here to Fresno State. At the time, they didn't have, they called them Rodman Scholars. They don't have Rodman Scholars anymore. They call them Schmidt Camp Scholars. But at the time when I came here, I was a Schmidt Camp Scholar. And then I got my master's in public health and physician assisting a couple years back, and now I'm back in Fresno. But it's interesting because the story I always tell to my friends and whoever asks is that Paradise is just one little thing of the step. It's just a part of the journey. And as much as I try to step away from it, I always find myself stepping back. A good example is sometimes when we do, in my practice, a lot of it is sports medicine, but the other side of it is surgery. So we do a lot of surgery, joint replacements, sports-related stuff. So, believe it or not, what they're doing is they're scrubbed in, and once you're scrubbed in, you don't scrub out unless you have to. And what they do, the way my coworkers torture me, is because they know I'm scrubbed in, they go on YouTube and they play Paradise songs. So I can't scrub out. So it affects me still. I try to run away from Paradise, step away, but I always find myself stepping back. For example, phone calling us to do this little event here. But it's just a little bit of the journey. You have to ask yourself, what is it about you that makes you, you? A lot of people will tell you, you can be whatever you want to be. I'm going to tell you something a little bit different. You need to be not who you want to be, but who you were meant to be. Okay? Ask yourself that question. What am I meant to be? I'm about 5'6", 5'7". I can't want to be an NFL football player. I won't last. Right? So you have to ask yourself. You guys are all very young. Ask yourself the question. What am I good at? Just ask yourself, examine yourself, and find that one thing that you do very well that no one else does quite as well. And that's the first thing that you jump onto. What is it that you especially enjoy or you're especially good at? That's in the direction, that's when you begin to move in the direction of who you were meant to be. Okay, so find out who you were meant to be and work in that direction. If you want to be successful, it's going to take a lot of dedication and a lot of sacrifice. Very early on, I knew music was very important to me. How many people here drive? Okay, a lot of people here. Okay, so the younger people will understand. Who are the younger people? How many people want to drive now? Okay, good. Well, when I was about 15, and I was very early in the band, I didn't have a keyboard yet. That was myself. So I didn't really have an instrument to play on. And my dad said, "What do you want, a car or a keyboard?" So naturally, because I loved music, I said, "I don't want a car, I'd rather have a keyboard." And so sometimes you have to make those sacrifices. And we're Hmong. None of our folks, well, of my folks' generation, no one's rich. So to choose between a keyboard and a car is a big decision. And the car wasn't much more expensive than the keyboard too, which isn't a whole lot. But the way I would describe success is this: every little thing that you do in your life, think about your hobbies. They reflect what you'll eventually become. Okay? The difference between a wise person and a very, very wise person is the opportunities that person takes. For example, today you could be at home leveling your character on League of Legends or something. And you chose to come here. And the difference between you and them will be the one thing, sometimes the one thing that you pick up today at this event. So put yourself out there. There's always an opportunity, but you have to actually, the movement of the opportunity is that you have to actually take it. There's always opportunity, but you have to take it, work hard, sacrifice, and be who you authentically are supposed to be. And so I just want to close with a little story about how Paradise still affects me. So I left for the Bay Area, and I came back looking for a job as a PA, and I met the doctor that I'm working with now, and I didn't know, but the guy loves rap music, and he's like in his 50s, and he's very open to music. And so one day he asked me, well, because in the real world, they want well-rounded people. They just don't want people who study all day and get the perfect grades. You have to be human. So I asked him, that's why I say you have to be authentic to yourself. What makes you authentic, different? And so he asked me, well, what else do you do? I said, well, I play some music. And he goes, okay, well, do you play for a band? I said, kind of. We used to play. And I told him, okay, I used to play in this Hmong band called Paradise. And so he left it at that. And then, the day went, and then the next day I came, and it turns out he was doing a background check. And so the first thing he does is Google Paradise. And so all this time I'm trying to walk away from the music, and here it comes back to haunt me. And that's why when he wants to torture me, he plays music in the OR, all music in the OR. So you'd be surprised by what makes you human, what makes you authentic. And, between other physician assistants, that's what makes me authentic. The fact that I play for Paradise, the fact that I'm Hmong. And some people may be a little ashamed of that. There may be some people in this room that say, man, I don't say Hmong. Well, you're Hmong Su, right? Some people play Su. I argue, now most of you, I hope you guys understand Hmong, right? Okay, so to a certain degree. Instead of saying Hmong Su, I challenge you to say, well, you're Hmong Dia. Okay? So be proud of who you are. Be authentic to yourself. And Ko will come and talk eventually about more success. So thank you for being here.